Fulham, Sheffield, and West Brom will be playing Championship football next season. But where will they finish? This will be a tough one because the Championship is one of the hardest leagues in the world to predict. One of the reasons why is because if a team does well one season, they normally do badly the next season, and vice versa. Teams are always switching places. But looking at this table, you've got Norwich and Watford who have already been promoted, but then you've got Brentford, Swansea, Barnsley, and Bournemouth in the playoffs. Only one of them will go up, so you've already got a lot of competition for places. Then you've got Reading, who had a good start to the season, but they fell away. And I think Cardiff will be challenging for promotion next season, so that's another team. Then you've got QPR, who I think they're a decent team. And then going further down, you've got teams like Stoke City and Blackburn, who I don't think they'll be challenging for promotion, but I think they'll be finishing mid-table again, maybe even top 10, so there could be some trouble next season. But then further down, you've got Nottingham Forest, Bristol, and Derby, who should be in the top 10, so these teams will be back next season. So it's going to be really tough to get promoted next season. All these teams will be doing well, or at least they should be. And it's going to be tough for Fulham, West Brom, or even Sheffield to get promoted. But having said that, I think Fulham will finish 5th. I think that their squad is decent, although they probably will lose a few players because some of the players did do well this season, like Zamba and Guisa, for example. But I think recently, Fulham obviously hasn't worked for them in the Premier League, but I think in the Championship, they've done well in the past. Well, 2 seasons ago they got promoted, but I don't think they'll be good enough to get automatic promotion. So they'll finish in a playoff spot. Maybe they'll even just finish in one. Like the teams below them will just miss out, so it'll be close. And if they bring in a striker and maybe one or two midfielders, they should be able to make a playoff spot. Obviously, automatic promotion is a step too far, I think, but I think 5th is about right. So for West Brom, I think they'll finish 7th. I think that, like Fulham's, their squad is actually quite good. They've got players like Carlin Grant, who have done well in the Championship in the past, but not in the Premier League, so I'm not sure where this guy is at, but he should be able to do well next season in the Championship. I think Fulham could probably get automatic promotion, but I don't think so because, once again, I think they'll lose some of their players like Manis Pereira, and obviously Conor Gallagher is a loanee from Chelsea. They might even lose their goalkeeper Sam Johnson because he's had an outstanding season. Now he has gotten relegated and he has conceded, I think, over 60 goals this season, but yes, he's had some very good games. And, the overall squad, once again, isn't that bad, but, the Championship is no joke, and I just think that, if Sam Allardyce stays, they might get automatic promotion, but I think what's more likely is that, they go down and they really struggle to, even make the playoffs next season. But they'll finish in the top 10. And lastly, we've got Sheffield, who I think they'll finish in a relegation spot next season, so they'll finish 22nd. I think for some reason, last season, Sheffield overperformed and they did really well. And I think the standard most people had them at was raised. But going into this season, for some reason, they've just been shocking at both ends of the pitch, both in defense and attack. Obviously, Chris Wilder, he had no answers to any of these problems. Like, obviously, they had problems in attack and defense, but he wasn't able to solve any of these problems, so he ends up getting sacked. And I think going into next season, they're going to have to change their style of play completely because obviously Chris Wilder had them playing with like a back five with overlapping defenders. And, that should have worked this season in the Premier League, but it didn't because for some reason, all these players were out of form. So what's going to happen is that Sheffield are going to have to change their system, and depending on who their manager is, they're going to have to completely change their style of play. But I think this won't be enough. I think they'll still get relegated because I think their squad is actually quite bad. I think it's awful, their squad. And it's quite an old squad as well. Old. Which really shouldn't matter, but I think the championship, it's really physical and, it's going to be too much for them. So I think back-to-back relegations for Sheffield. Fulham to just make the playoffs, and West Brom to just miss out. And that's about it.